Hey guys, my name is Oshun the Great, and welcome back to my beautiful channel. Something else that I want to talk about today is New Age spirituality or spirituality culture in general versus drug culture. And I bring this up because lately it could just be my experience of being in beach towns here in Mexico. And basically, what I experience a lot is like a lot of people who present themselves as conscious or spiritual. They are drugged out of this world, and they are not only a lot of times are they spiritual bypassing, are very cult-like and very like full of groupthink. Like if you don't practice, a lot of it's full of purity culture. Like if you don't practice the way they practice, they like shun the fuck out of you. But spirituality has also become infested with like this dissociating away from the body. And I say this because it's really important in my craft to have integrity as a spiritualist and to be clear-minded. And like from time to time I will do things like smoke weed and stuff like that, but I'm never like dependent on these things. And it's not to judge anyone, it's just to say that it's just something that I noticed where it used to be this cool thing, especially like Mexico feels like a mecca that people come to for things like ayahuasca and shamanic things and a different experience, indigenous practices and things of that nature. But it becomes this different experience when people kind of rely on the substances, in my opinion. So people come for like shroom trips and like they do ayahuasca like 50 times or something, and it just came out that ayahuasca can actually mess up your brain for long-term damage. And all of these things are like left out left out of all this experience. And then sometimes you have people who just want to make the money and it's unethical, and so all these things can be left out sometimes. And sometimes the culture of like trying to elevate your consciousness becomes this like addiction to, again, leave the body or stay high. And so it becomes this thing where it becomes a group of people who are just they're freaking out reliant on the drugs. And Lord knows what type of drugs they're really on. There's kids being like super experimental now, like making their own shit with herbs, and it gets crazy out here. And so again, I bring this up because something that I noticed with the drug culture, like mixing it with the woke kids, mixing it with purity culture, mixing it with like we're so pure, you can't step out of line outside of this way of being or these rules. These people are also angry, or like they're so dissociated from their empathy that it's impossible for them to really be connecting with others. And so the drugs end up making them actually less empathetic and more cruel because they're going by like colonialism repackaged, oppression repackaged. And so that's something that's really disturbing lately that I noticed in being in some of these small towns or being into these cults, cult dynamics. Basically, I get targeted because I'm clear-minded. If they can't pull me into the group think, a lot of these places have a level that they're comfortable at, and I'm just not one for mediocrity and things like that, or being drugged out of my mind. I'm naturally a high person, and I like being clear. And people see that as a threat, and it's said that when people have certain addictions, they want you on the same level, or there comes this shame element to it, or like you need to get exiled out of the groups. And so that's what I've been clashing with lately, and just wondering why that is, of why we have such a bad drug problem lately. And I'm curious you guys' thoughts of what's the ethical line between like, okay, I want to explore all these like different levels of consciousness, but where is the ethics of it, and where do we draw the line, kind of thing. And because I've just seen the shadow of the shadows out here, and I will wholeheartedly believe you don't need to rely on substances, in my opinion, but it is like being sober is not for the faint of heart when you're going through spiritual evolution, because it does put your mind, body, and soul through a lot of things. And some people want to alleviate the pains of what it means to be human. I'm not even perfect. I have addictions aside from, I don't have drug problems, but I have tobacco, coffee, social media. So it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a human thing or whatnot, but I just can't get down with the whole, drug culture, spiritual culture thing. And it's also, we gotten to the point where it's hard for people to tell who are real spiritualists. A lot of it are just like fads packaged to make fast money, or to make, like, you know present it to the tourists in a certain way and get that money and call it a day. And I've had my work stolen and everything and repackaged, and people don't care. It's ruthless, and it gets so sad and, like, damaging when people who are supposedly, raising the vibration are acting this way. They're not in integrity at all, in my opinion, and it's crazy out here. So, yeah, that's what I noticed, and I don't know what it would take to heal or to bring clarity, but this is probably just the shadow side of everything of the same coin. And I don't even know how people can get good at trying to use discernment when it comes to finding shamans and healers, because people have been telling me, like, it's fucking hard to know who is real and who is not, and who has the certain integrity. And then these people who aren't in integrity, they're trying to desecrate the integrity of those who have integrity. It's all confusion culture, and so it's a mess, and I'm not fucking with it. But more later, I don't have the answers. I'm just planning it out. And like Tupac said, I'm not the person to clean up the world, but somebody else will, hopefully.